The last breath of summer is blowing down our necks, and soon we'll wave goodbye to the fleeting bliss. Because you are like a tidal wave, just ripping up my life, not living without a trace. And you know that I'm your silent patient. You know I'm your silent patient. I've been waiting this long out for your hands to hold me up. I'll be holding on through the winter for your kiss to wake me up.
Look at the camera right here. Good morning. Good morning. Am I talking to you? It's such a dork. Good morning, friends. Happy New Year. Today is January 1st. He doesn't understand why I'm not looking at him. This is hilarious. Today is January 1st. And so it's a whole new year of bookish goals and bookish videos and bookish content. And so I'm here with a reading vlog. I thought that I would do a weekend reading vlog I did this last year where I just sort of filmed a vlog of my first book of the year. And the book that I read last year was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. And then I read the first Ice Planet Barbarians. Loved both of them. That was a Penelope Douglas book that I had kind of been edging, like putting off. I wasn't sure, are you gonna look at the camera or what are you gonna do? I wasn't sure if I was gonna love it because I thought maybe there might be cheating involved. Like, I don't know. Like, that was another one of those books where I didn't think I was gonna like it because of the tropes that were in it, and then I ended up absolutely loving it. So I'm not very well read on Penelope Douglas, even though I know she's no. I've got tea on my desk too. Even though I know she's like a booktube darling author, like everyone really, really loves her. I think I started with her in the wrong place. I started with her Devil's Night series and I really didn't like that. And I also tried Bully and I also didn't really like that. Which, if you know my reading taste, that shouldn't be a surprise, you know. So, all of that, and I'm so bad at having long intros for these vlogs. I'm sorry. All of that to say, I couldn't quite figure out what book I wanted to start with for my first read of the year. And I had a few options I was kind of going back and forth on, but I finally decided to go with Misconduct by Penelope Douglas because most people say this is similar in feel to Birthday Girl. More similar in feel to Birthday Girl than any of her other books. Kazi's licking my sleeve. And so I really want to read this and see what I think. This actually was on several of my TBR videos last year and I didn't read it. So that's another reason why I'm like, okay, I need to actually read the books that I said I was going to read. So I actually started this already. It's an audiobook that I have from my library. And all that I really know about this so far is that she's fairly young when the book starts out. She's like 23. She meets the hero at a party. It's like a masquerade type of ball, I think, unless I really misunderstood. She meets him there. She can tell right away he's quite a bit older than she is. Did you knock your food bowl over? Thank you. And they feel this instant connection to one another, a very powerful, like, physical connection to each other. And they have some really delightful banter and a really great interaction, and then they part ways. And all the rest that I know about this is just what people have told me. She is a school teacher, and he ends up being the parent of one of the kids that she's teaching. So that's basically all that I know about it. All I know is it's a little bit of an age gap, and very interested in this. Really, really engaged so far, really liking it. Like, I'm only on chapter 2. I just barely started it this morning, but I'm interested. I'm really interested. Really, really trying to temper my expectations because I don't think that it's going to compare to Birthday Girl. It's not going to be as well loved by me, I don't think, because I mean, my love for Birthday Girl is like very, very high, and so I don't know that anything is going to top it. But also just because I feel like if this was as good as Birthday Girl, you'd hear more about it, you know, because it's been out for a while. It's been out for a while. So, sorry to disappoint you. I'm not reading any brand new books in this vlog. This is mostly books that have been on previous TBRs, backlist videos, and things like that. So, that's the book that I want to read, and I'm hoping that I can get 2 books in this TBR because I want this to go out Monday, so today is Saturday, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish 2 by then. But another book that I want to read is The Beast of Bessic, I'm not sure how you say that, by Amelie Howard. This book also came right to the front of my attention in 2020, and I really, really, really wanted to read it. This was actually published in 2019. But again, it was sort of one of those cases where I feel like I do this a lot when I have a book that I'm really interested in and that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about. Like, I'm like, ooh, I want to read that so bad. But for some reason, I don't pick it up right away. And then it ends up being years later before I get to it. So that's what's happening here. I think that this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I feel like Jen really likes this one from the Book Refuge. Yeah, this has also been on several of my TBR videos, so I want to read this one. I do have the audiobook for this, and I've read Amelie's newer stuff, and I liked it. I haven't given it a 5-star yet, so I'm curious to see if this will be. Honestly, I won't be upset if either of these are 5-star reads. I just don't want them to be completely dismal. You know, like I don't want to have a 2-star read. or worse, right? Or worse. Also, here's my tea today in this wonderful white mug. My husband made me tea today. This is a spearmint and peppermint blend, which is my current favorite tea, so nothing super fancy or exciting. I do have an Adagio tea order that should be coming today, which I'm excited about. Anyway, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back when I have more to update you on. Hello, just a quick update. I'm about 20% of the way in this far. I'm listening to the audio. I don't love the female narrator, but I don't know how I feel about it yet. Like, I mean, obviously it's still early. It's only like 23% of the way in, and I don't hate it at all, but I'm definitely not as engaged, and I really don't even have, like, there's not really any romance vibes at all, just like that attraction from that Mardi Gras masquerade. I think it's probably because they're, like, enemies. They're not liking each other. And I think the thing that really won me over with Birthday Girl, and why I think it's such a standout in her books, is because they had such a connection in that movie theater. And Pike was so kind to her. Like, and kindness is huge. Like, I realize now, I used to think I was just a hoe for enemies to lovers. Like, I'm really not. With the exception of A Heart of Blood and Ashes, because I think that's absolute perfection. But, like, I definitely prefer, I don't know. It's complicated, you know? Enemies to lovers cannot be great. And they're not necessarily enemies, but there is an animosity between them. But another thing about Birthday Girl is, like, Pike had this longing for her, you know? And they were, like, so attracted to one another, but they also had a deeper connection, and it was just so evident, whereas I feel like it's not quite there yet. And again, early, 20%, so my feelings could change, but so far I think, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not enamored, is what I'll say.
Your wings in the sky tonight. I'm sitting on a rock and watching heron fly. Feet in the water, out the way. It has been such a beautiful day. beautiful day. A beautiful day.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Okay, we have a vlog update for you. I finished my first book of the year. I finished Misconduct by Penelope Douglas. And it was a 2-star read. So, I know that Penelope Douglas has a ton of very devoted fans. I'm not one of them, honestly. Like, I have really struggled to connect with her books in the past. The only one that I've ever truly loved is Birthday Girl. And Birthday Girl is so different from her typical books. Like, yeah, so this is a 2-star read for me. And if it was not for the really excellent steam in here, it would be a 1-star. Because I feel like everything else in this book was a disaster. So I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like about it. I'm gonna tell you. So I'm sorry if you love this book or if you love Penelope Douglas, because she just is not a writer for me unless she does something else like in the vein of Birthday Girl. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit and comparing it to this just because I want to be clear about what I loved about Birthday Girl and what I didn't about this one. So this book is an age gap. The hero is like 35 or 36. The heroine is 23. And I feel like in general, when this book is recommended for people who liked Birthday Girl, it's typically because there's an age gap there. And that is where the similarities end. In Birthday Girl, they had Pike and the heroine, who I can't remember her name for the life of me. They had this really great connection at the movie theater that went beyond just a lust connection. Lust is very difficult for me to get on board in a romantic relationship if you don't back it up with something that's more complex, because on its own, I'm not an erotic romance. Well, I do like erotic romance. I don't like erotica. I don't really enjoy lust-based romances that don't have anything else. That's not anything that I enjoy reading. I specifically avoid those subgenres because I know that's not what I'm looking for. So that is entirely what their relationship is based on, is their first meeting at the masquerade. They have this really intense lust for one another that is pretty spicy, and I was really waiting. Like, I was waiting for there to be more to their relationship. I was waiting for it to really develop and to lean into the taboo nature of that she is the teacher of his teenage son. And that really just didn't happen. Like, their first intimate exchange is in her classroom. And honestly, it was just like so outside of the realm of possibility. Like, the way that it happened, how quickly it happened, everything that happened in that exchange, that was really where this book lost me. And I was like, okay, this is not for me, because it felt very much on a surface level. It really was all about, we're just super attracted to one another, we're in the classroom, it's going to be really taboo, and we're going to just go for it. And that's just not interesting enough for me. I just need something more, you know? I mean, and please don't confuse what I'm saying, and that if that's what you like, I think that's fantastic. That's not what I like at all. I get really frustrated, and I get really bored when I am told that it's a romance. And that's what I get, because that's not romance. In my opinion, it may be an erotica or an erotic romance, but that's it. Anyway, okay, I talk about this all the time, and I feel like I'm one of the few people that reads romance that doesn't like that. And so I feel like I always have to disclaim how I feel about that, because that's just not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for complex relationships. What makes relationships work? What else is there other than lust? Because yes, physical attraction is super important, but you can't base a romance. You will never get me to believe a romance that is 100% on physical attraction. It just won't ever happen. So, this book, after that first interaction, like, I was really hoping that there would be some good setup with him and his kid, and honestly, that relationship with him and his son and the heroine, who I have since forgotten her name, what is it? Easton, how could I forget that? I was hoping there would be some really good development there in that relationship too. That was basically non-existent in this book. There was nothing developed through either the hero and his son or the heroine and the hero's son. Like, nothing happened there. It was really just put in there to give this a taboo element, and it was disappointing that it wasn't developed. Like, I'm going to compare this to The Takeover by T.L. Swan, which does have children in there that does cause some tension in their romantic relationship, and it was handled so well. It was so beautifully done. It had a lot of emotion in there, and it had a lot of complexity in how these kids were going to get on board with Tristan when their father had passed away, you know? None of that happens here. There's no complexity in this relationship. It's literally just something to add to this to give it a little bit of spice, you know? And for that reason, it felt very obvious to me that that's the only reason it was in there, and it was frustrating because it could have been good, you know? So, another thing that, like, sort of like a side plot in here is that he was going to run for, like, some political office, and so I was thinking that could be interesting too. Like, this could be, like, a big scandal with his son's teacher, and, like, it really honestly was also very lackluster. They really didn't have any type of discussion about politics or the nature of running for a political office, and yeah, disappointing. Disappointing. Felt unnecessary. So another thing that bothered me about this book is that I feel like she just put in a lot of stuff in here that she thought would add drama or would add tension, but none of them were really pulled together in a way that made sense in the story. It just felt like she was throwing stuff in here, and that was it, you know? It just didn't really have any connection with anything, and it just felt very almost manipulative in a way as a writer. It was manipulative in a way that she's giving you the idea that these are going to have meaning later on, and they just don't. Another thing, a big thing, is Easton has some trauma from her past, something that happened with her and her family. There's like a stalker coming around, and so I was honestly, that was my last hope. I was holding on to hope, like, who is the stalker? How is this going to be resolved? What is this going to mean to their relationship? What's going to happen? Like, I was interested in that. And the reveal at the end was so completely stupid. I absolutely hated it. I wish that that had not even been added at all. That was another element that was just thrown in here to give spice, to give tension, but was meaningless and frustrating because it was so dumb. I just hated it. I hated it so bad. Also, like, the reveal of who the stalker was frustrating on another level because I feel like when I'm reading like a mystery or a thriller, one of my absolute favorite things, and it doesn't happen very often, it's difficult to do. One of my favorite things is finding out the whodunit or the mystery and then looking back and realizing that those clues were put in there, but they were so subtly put in there that you didn't pick up on them right away. And so when it's revealed, you're like, oh, yeah, I totally see that. That's not what happened here at all. There were no clues, there were no breadcrumbs, it was just sort of revealed at the end, and I was like, seriously? Like, I don't know. It was very disappointing, honestly. Like I said, like, I went into this with my expectations tempered, and I did, because this was recommended to me as someone who liked Birthday Girl and who didn't like Penelope's other books, I definitely was thinking, okay, it's not going to be as good as Birthday Girl, right? So I had that in my head. And even though I knew it wasn't going to be as good as Birthday Girl, like, it was so much worse than Birthday Girl, in my opinion. Like, it's not even on the same level at all. Birthday Girl has so much nuance in that relationship. Like, there's so much emotion in there. It's also extremely steamy. But it's just such a beautiful relationship that was built very gradually, and it was so satisfying. I just loved it so much. It also had the forbidden nature of it, which was super hot. Also, I loved that in Birthday Girl. And everything in here, it was just like, no, it was overdone, it was overdramatic, and because it was overdramatic, none of it paid off. It was just sort of like, I just didn't love it at all, honestly. Another thing, this is my last point about this, is that this book really has everything that I don't like about Penelope Douglas. It's a bully type of setup. They're antagonists towards one another. They don't like each other. There's a lot of hate sex. It's just really unsatisfying for the type of reader that I am. I didn't like it. 2 stars, and I feel like I'm being pretty generous to give it 2 stars. And yeah, super disappointed. Really didn't like this at all. And I think that I am going to proceed with great caution with picking up any of Penelope Douglas's future books because I realize now Birthday Girl was an outlier. It was her one-hit wonder for me, and I don't know that she's ever going to write anything that will compare to that for me. So, disappointed, 2 stars. What a way to start the year off, huh? So, in other news, the other book that I picked up that I mentioned is The Beast of Bezek. That's how they say it in the audiobook. You all probably knew that. I am late to the party on this book. I'm loving this book so freaking much. I'm on chapter 8 this far in. This is such a fun historical romance. This is so fun. This has all of the elements that I love in a historical romance. We have a very scarred hero. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. We have a feisty heroine who's trying to save her sister from being married to this really terrible man who's going to just use her and abuse her, and who is almost 20 years older than her. There's this financial situation that she's in. Her parents have passed away. She's in the care of her uncle, and he's out of money, so he needs to try and marry the sister to this man who, by the way, is also the man who sort of proposed to our heroine Astrid in her first season. Astrid is 25, and in her first season she had this man who is the guy who's wanting to marry her sister sort of proposed to her, and he took advantage of her one night. Nothing happened with her virtue that night, but he spread it around town that she wasn't a virgin, and so he was backing out of the marriage. So she was effectively ruined, and she has no prospects, but she's a very beautiful woman. So when she hears that her uncle plans to marry her little sister, who's only 16, to this terrible man who ruined her, she takes matters into her own hands, goes and thinks of who in the world could save them. And she thinks the husband could. So she goes to the Duke of Bezek, who is the scarred beast hero in here. And she proposes this proposition to him that, hey, how about we get married? I know that, like, you probably need a wife, let's get married. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna marry anybody. But they have so much chemistry together, and she ends up coming to work for him to sort of help sort through his father who has passed away, his Chinese porcelain. It's fantastic. They have so much chemistry. This is a beautiful Beauty and the Beast retelling. I am absolutely loving this, and I am so, so happy that I finally picked this up. I hope so badly that the rest of it is as good as the first has been so far, because I really need a great book after Misconduct, because I really didn't like that at all. So this is really hitting the spot. They have great banter. This is a great setup. It's very romantic. There are a few phrases that are thrown around in here that are definitely not historically accurate. Like, I think there's a quote that she says when she's talking about something, I can't remember, something about women, and she says, said no woman ever, or something like that. And I've heard that phrase in newer historicals a few times, and it instantly is like, they didn't say that. But I'm giving it some leeway because the story is just so compelling, and I really love this couple. So this is a good one. Very much enjoying this. Cannot wait to keep reading it. I'll keep you updated. I probably won't update you until I'm finished with my final thoughts. So really happy about this one. Absolutely loving it. Just couldn't be happier. I'm loving this so much more than her newest release. Even though I did like that, I think it was Rules for Heiresses. I liked that one a lot. It wasn't a 5-star read for me, it was 4 stars. This one is, if it continues in this vein, will be a 5-star read, which I'm hoping. Cross your fingers for me. Here's hoping it will be. I'll see y'all when I have more to say. Hello, friends. Good evening. Don't knock the camera over, Cosmo. It's set up precariously. I'm in my studio. It's Sunday night. I just finished dinner. And also finished The Beast of Bezek. And it was so good, you guys. Cause don't knock the camera over. It was so good. I really, really loved this. This is a 5-star read for me. It's a new favorite historical, honestly. Like, Kazi, can you not? This is why not really why, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I was gonna say this is why I don't film in here anymore, but that's not true. I'm just sitting on the floor. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. He's gonna knock this over. Anyway, this book was fantastic. I feel like this would be a really good intro to somebody who reads contemporary romance, but maybe loves, like rom-coms maybe, but wants to start historicals. I feel like this would be a really good first historical romance, because I feel like it has tropes that are really familiar, like Beauty and the Beast. It has a scarred hero. He's definitely grumpy. She's not necessarily sunshine, but she is for sure like take no crap kind of heroine. Like, I really, really love her. Something that I really like about her, he's eating my sweater strings, is how she, you know, like, he tries to say things that are gonna, like, knock her down or, like, you know, that are kind of rude, and she, like, fires right back at him. Like, she is not gonna put up with his, like, crap at all. Like, she just throws it right back at him, and I just love that about her. I love how protective she is about her little sister, like how she is just determined to do whatever it takes to keep her safe. But I also really love how she wasn't afraid to open up to this man, even though the potential for hurt was really there. I really loved their romance. I thought it was beautiful. I loved their banter. It was very steamy. It was just really good. I also really liked watching their romance and relationship develop through their intimacy. I felt like that was really well done here too. And probably the shining star, the biggest point of interest for me was watching Thane, the Beast of Bezek, watching his character development, because he starts out so angry and so hurt, and he, I don't even know that he's hurt. Well, he is, but he hides that with, like, anger, right? And so he, in the beginning, the opening scene with him is him basically, like, throwing his father's porcelain pottery at his valet, so and they're playing cricket with them. He wants to just destroy them. So he's got all of this anger and all of this hurt feelings towards his father and the legacy that he has that he didn't necessarily want, his scars, everything that he did in the war. He just feels so much anger, you know? But underneath that anger, there's so much vulnerability and so much tenderness and this desire to have a really strong connection, but the fear that he has that he's going to get hurt. So throughout this book, as he knows that he's falling for, oh my gosh, for Astrid, you can see that really the thing that he is most afraid of is falling for her and loving her and having her either be repulsed or, you know, really obviously have a distaste for his scars. Like, he's so afraid of that. He's just positive that's going to happen. So watching him really sort of transform from being so angry to really being intrigued with her and sort of having great banter with her, and then to going to where he has this idea that maybe he could have feelings for her and he wants to love her and he wants her to love him, but he's afraid of what might happen if she actually sees his scars completely. And so then to get to that final moment where he decides he's going to trust her and trust that she will guard his heart carefully was just a beautiful thing. Like, it was so lovely. It was just so much fun. I ate this audiobook up. I couldn't stop listening to it. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed this. 5 stars and a new favorite for sure. Cosmo? He pushed his toys underneath the... Well, if you've been missing Cosmo content, I hope that you got your fill today. Now he's pawing at the door stopper. Why? Kazi, come here! Anyway, I loved this one. This was a great first read, well, second read of the year. I really, really loved it. It was 5 stars. It was excellent. I would recommend this for sure. If you're really strict about historical accuracy and specifically language, you know, this might irritate you a little bit because, like I said, there are some phrases and some dialogue that's definitely not historically accurate. But it was just so much fun. I was so caught up in the story and their romance that I didn't even mind. And if you love a Beauty and the Beast retelling, you gotta read this. So, Kazi, can you come here and tell the people that you're sorry for being so loud? He's gonna climb on me. This is like a toddler with fur. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the first vlog of 22, and let me know what you have been reading for the first of the year so far. And yeah, that's all. If you've made it this far, please leave me a snowflake if you want to leave an emoji to let me know you were here. And thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in my next video. Kazi, can you say goodbye? Can you say goodbye to the people?